MLS Aces Podcast. This is your host, Tom Sweezy. This is episode 353, I think, off the top of my head. Here with Jason Vivang. Jason, we're having a time. I know
Hey,
we
it's
opened the day.
the holidays are coming up. We're obviously busy. We're even more busy. It is what it is. This is our lives.
This is, again, we say it all the time. Not the 9 to 5 would be the dream 9 to 5. It's not the 9 to 5. And yeah, it's just one of those last few weeks. So apologies about missing the last few weeks of this episode. In that time, I've gone away on a trip. I've turned 30. You've been doing life on your own side of things. It's been a lot of juggling, a lot of things going on, but we are happy to be back talking with you guys, talking soccer in what's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode, because why wouldn't I have technology issues today?
On the one day that we have the least amount of time.
Literally. So we are going to talk about as much as humanly possible until Jason literally tells me I have to go and I'm going to end recording. So that's the plan. I think that sounds pretty good. Okay. Let's talk USMNT, because I feel like that has been a pretty good positive in the chaos and the hecticness of what's been going on for our personal lives over the last few weeks. USMNT, they won both of their November friendly games to end off the 2025 calendar year on a positive note. 5 straight wins as well, 5 straight undefeated as well to end 2025. Pretty good there. It was a 2-0 win versus Paraguay and a 5-1 win versus Uruguay. I mean, are we back? Like, are we feeling good? Because we never do that on this podcast. We're never feeling good about
We always do this. I feel good. I mean, I think, like, to be serious about it for a second,
Yeah.
like, I think what we have been talking about sort of with Pochettino and the ups and downs of, let's just say, the summer, I guess, USMNT rosters and games, and really just the up and down general feel I think people had. I feel like we've been sort of grounded in the Poch is clearly trying to figure some things out. And I still don't know if they're fully figured out, but I think what's encouraging is that the performances have gotten a lot better. The rosters have started to take better shape. The team, there's little things that you start to notice that I think Pochettino has clearly started to get his guys kind of figure out what he likes, kind of see who works well with who. And that doesn't mean it's perfect. I think obviously Pulisic wasn't part of this. I think there's, Reyna is back.
Is he back?
That's back, right?
Question.
I think there's a lot of things that are still moving parts, but overall, I believe like Pochettino's just slowly figuring this out. And when they hired him, everyone knew he was a great manager. I don't think anyone thought that was I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would say at least 99% was like very happy with this hire.
I mean, the Greg out folks were thrilled, and then I think even the non-Greg out folks were like, okay, Mauricio Pochettino's a big deal.
Even like kind of myself, who was not totally out on Greg, but I think Pochettino, like just from like the resume, the name alone is just a huge hire, and I think giving it time and seeing where he can get to is a super high level. We've seen him manage massive games, so like the recipe is there. I'm not really like, my head says, or my heart says fully back winning the World Cup. My head says like there's still a lot of growing I think to do, and I just know that like one bad performance in January is gonna like the pitchforks are gonna come out again. But
I mean, look, I will say
rationally, we're in a good spot. I think we're in a good spot for going into a World Cup year.
I think you and I are in a good spot. I will say that we're mentally in a good spot. There was the points where it was down, and I think yes, you and I hung as strong as we could. I think maybe I gave up a little bit more than you in the terms of Poch needs to figure it out, right? It was the Nations League, lost to Panama, lost to Canada.
That was definitely like Canada. The dark days.
No, I think it got worse because then it was the loss to Turkey, the loss to Switzerland, the Gold Cup was a shit show. And then after the Gold Cup, even the South Korea loss, you and I were on here like that was bad, but then Japan was good. And then it's rolled into
and I think that's when I started to be like, what are we expecting with the amount of changes from camp to camp, game to game, goalkeeper differences, changes, literally 11 changes at times. Like I think that's when I started to notice like a clear, I mean, and I don't think Pochettino said anything publicly, but it was clear he was trying to figure out who he wants on the team. And I'll go back to what I've said probably the past 3 camps now. The best talent is not necessarily the best 11, right? And I think that distinction is what Poch has been trying really hard to figure out what is the actual best 11 in terms of results on the field. That which doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, if someone thinks this guy is way worse than, you know, let's just use Max Arfiston because I think we both are pretty high on him, but people might be out there going, why is he playing over whoever, you know, over Dest or whatever. There's a reason for it, I think. And I think that's what it's like that. I'm not saying this is just purely hypothetical with those 2 names. I was just throwing names out there, but I mean, like, the talent will be there. And I think the players that are being chosen specifically for a reason, which is probably a positive change over previous managers. I'm not even calling Greg here, but I just
it's more than just Greg too, for sure. I will say that. I will say the one thing that Pochettino has been very vocal about is he wants to expand the USMNT player pool. He wants to deepen the player pool, and alone he has done that successfully because we are at the point where I think the one thing that you and I can be consistent from probably to the dark days of the spring and the summer to now is that there is still no clear cut who the best 11 is and who is surefire roster picks. Sure, I think you can pick 4.
There's maybe 2 names, like maybe 2.
I think I would go 4, but even then, it's the fact that it's even a conversation is still the question mark. So what I like is that he's expanded.
I mean, with health 100% not being a factor, there's probably more names, but with health being a factor, there's probably really only like 1 guy.
No, Chris Richards, Pulisic, those 2
guys.
Easy.
Okay, well, that's what I said initially. 2 names.
Matt Freese is the goalkeeper of the USMNT. That is the only confirmed thing we know. So there's 3. Tyler Adams, I think 100%.
I think Tyler Adams and Anthony Robinson 100% are in there if health is never an issue.
Balogun, I think, is the striker.
He's getting there, yeah.
Okay. Pepe has.
Well, yeah, but now we're talking like this whole point is like this was the stuff that we're figuring out the last 6 months. Sure. So it's these names that are sort of more solid now are only solid now because of how much effort Pochettino and his staff have put in and 100%. Why we were losing games. Like that's 100%. Why we were losing some of the games. So
100. And I mean, look, even like a guy like Sebastian Berhalter who had a field day against Uruguay, like he has developed into a guy who arguably, I don't even say arguably at this point, who has put his name over the likes of Yunus Musa in the midfield.
It's funny because I have a friend who's very into U.S. soccer, and he's a big MLS fan, but definitely more in terms of like the European side of things.
Yeah.
Was definitely Greg out, and he texted me like Berhalter's 100% has to be in the World Cup squad. And I was like, wow, this is an interesting comment.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, look, the Euro snobs are falling in love with Berhalter. I'll call him a Euro
He is
snob.
an MLS. I wouldn't call him a Euro snob. He would be offended by that probably. But
it's okay. He's your friend, not mine. I'll offend him. But yes, look, we won 2 games against 2 very good South American nations without the likes of Pulisic, McKennie, Adams, Chris Richards, Anthony Robinson, Malik Tillman, like the quote unquote what the Euro snobs would love, right? Like we won with a bunch of MLS guys, and then like, you know, obviously the Balligans are in there and the Dests are in there, of course. I'm not gonna, you know, say nothing.
Anyone who doesn't see Roldan as a massive impact in this team of any players, just You're
You know
not
what's
watching.
funny is like after this window, I'm kind of like, but is Tanner Tessman the better option? Because Tessman had a camp, man. Because Tessman had a camp.
This is like
It's
it's a good problem.
no, 100%. We are in a great spot closing out the year. Like I said, 5 straight undefeated. We are in the pool for the first right pool for the World Cup draw. We're going to get that information next month. Not that far away. I think 2 weeks away from figuring out what the groups look like. So it's gonna be a ton of fun to see what's coming next. And then obviously, I know there's some reports out there from Tom Bogert and others of what 2026 and the lead up is going to be. I think the farewell game for the World Cup is going to happen against Germany in Chicago, Jason. So that's a fun one that I think, I'm sure you'll be celebrating and having fun, even if it's not at the game, at a bar somewhere. But
I might be going. It's on the radar.
is there anything specifically about either of these games? Because look, we don't have the time to dive in super deep, but it was a fist fight literally against Paraguay, and it was a domination of Uruguay, and I loved it.
I don't know if anything specifically about the games, but like a question would be like going into next year with the World Cup in June. Is it July?
Yeah, June,
July.
July.
What do you want to see out of these rosters? Because we have what, like 6-ish more games, probably. January camp. Like I'm starting because January camp always is like a massive amount of players.
I don't know if they're doing a January camp this year. I think they're doing like February FIFA window. Like I think from the reports.
Well, regardless, I feel like we now are going to be narrowing it down, and that's going to be players that we like split almost. Like,
look,
players that are good players are not going to be in these teams.
This World Cup roster, if everyone is healthy, knock on wood, in a perfect world, right, is going to have cuts of some dudes who deservedly should be on an international roster for a World Cup. Like there's a good chance that, I don't know, let's say Mark McKenzie, who I think should be on it, played very well in both of these games. Just the first name I looked down on my spreadsheet and saw. So sorry, Mark McKenzie. But Mark McKenzie might not make it because the center back competition's tough. Mark McKenzie is a very good center back and playing at a Ligue 1 level. And again, just had a great end of year camp. So I want to start seeing the healthy everyone together, right? Because Pochettino got all upset about you're winning without your top guys. Pochettino's like, this is the USMNT, right? Like if you're here, you're a top guy. This is your A team. Like whenever we're here. But I want to see Adams back. I want to see Anthony Robinson back. I need Pulisic back playing in every single game leading up to the World Cup. Same thing with Tillman. Like I need all of these guys to start to get acclimated. So it's like, okay, we know, like we said, right, the top 4, 5, 6 guys that we can name that are probably surefires on this roster. But what does it look like filling in after that? Like an Alex Freeman should be on this roster 100%, but is it Freeman or is it Dest? Is Freeman playing right center back? Because I mean, he did it very well against Uruguay, but like, what does this look like? So that's what I want to see is just like, we're at the point where Pochettino now can't test anymore, and I think he's doing it less and less. But let's keep doing it less and less. Like let's keep
right. And that's exactly what I feel. It's like the testing has been happening, and that's why the results have not always been up to everyone's standards. I think the move now is to, like you said, lessen the testing, figure out. It's now refining your player base. I mean, let's say he has a spreadsheet in his office that has 30 names on it, and what, 18 of them get called up, or 20 of them. So, I mean, there might be more or less. I don't know.
No, it's a 25-man roster, 23-man roster. I think 23.
Okay, but regardless, he's got the names, and he's gonna have to start crossing out names.
I mean, so the U.S. I saw some stat called up 71 players in 2025. Like
It feels like it, yeah.
that spreadsheet is a lot bigger than 30 names. I can tell you that for sure. Just want to quickly give a shout out to the CONCACAF nations that qualified for the World Cup over the weekend, over the midweek, because it was a ton of fun. Obviously, right, with like the U.S., Canada, Mexico automatically getting in, we have a lot more teams that are going to get in based off that. So Panama, they made it. Congratulations to them. They've been killing it over the last cycle of CONCACAF, doing well in all competitions. Curacao, their first time making the competition, they become the smallest nation ever to qualify for the World Cup. And then Haiti, their first time back in like 50 something years. So congratulations to all three of those countries there. And then we still have Jamaica and Suriname, who are going to go into the international playoff with I think whatever it is, another 4 teams to get 2 final spots into the World Cup. So Jamaica and Suriname still have their possibilities there. Let's talk, Jason, about the MLS schedule and format change, because holy shit, we go away for 2 weeks and,
they
Major
decided
League
to just change everything.
We're just going to switch up everything that you possibly fucking know. So beginning in the summer of 2027, so the 2027 season is going to be, this 2027 season that begins in January or February is going to be a half MLS season. They're just playing through the winter into the summer.
They're playing 14 games.
Yeah, with an MLS Cup in there.
Yeah.
It's going to feel like COVID all over again.
I don't actually, I think that's like the one thing I don't love about it is like, just do an extended break or something. Like 14 games and then playoffs and then an MLS Cup, and then it's going to be a weird MLS Cup. Like someone's going to win that, and I guarantee you people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't count,
100%. Just like New York City's doesn't count because it was the year after COVID or whatever. I get that all the time, but it doesn't matter. It is going to be weird, and you think if maybe Major League Soccer figured this out, I don't know, a year earlier, they could have just done it off the back of a World Cup and started a fresh new season with a new calendar. That would make too much sense, but whatever. That's not the case.
I mean, I think that was probably the better option, but I don't know if that was possible given that they made this decision in November, and that literally would need to be scheduled in like now.
I'm just saying
they already released next year's schedule.
You knew the World Cup was in the U.S. for the last decade. Figure it out sooner.
Okay, but are they efficient as a?
Well, okay, let's go to the news. So MLS is going to adopt a summer to spring season format, which is, what they're calling one of the most significant developments in league history. They are still working with the MLS Players Association to finalize, I think the specific details of this transition plan, but it is absolutely happening at this point. So it is going to be the 2027-2028 MLS season. It is going to begin mid to late July in 2027 and conclude in late May of 2028 with MLS Cup in May. There's going to obviously be the breaks that every international league that probably most of if you're not an MLS fan, or if you are, the other international leagues, there's going to be those FIFA breaks, but it's not going to be the awkward, it's MLS playing through a FIFA window and half the roster's gone, and all of that stuff is pretty much going to be gone. So the main things that Major League Soccer listed out as the point of doing this is, one, to optimize global transfer market activity, kind of give MLS clubs the opportunity to participate more effectively in the transfer market. So with that, maximizing player signings and also player sales, I'd throw in there, aligning with the FIFA calendar that we see across most of Europe. And I'll also say that because it's definitely to align with Europe and not with Brazil or Argentina, because Brazil and Argentina do things differently than Europe. But also elevate the MLS playoffs. You're playing MLS playoffs in the springtime, more ideal weather, more, I guess, as optimized as you possibly can, and not playing in freezing cold and moving schedules and everything like that. So I'll take a pause here, Jason. When you texted me this news, I was a little drunk in Savannah, Georgia. So I will say that, celebrating my birthday. But when you first saw this news, what did you think of it?
I feel like I was against this news years ago,
I've been against it for a while.
and been pretty against the idea of it due to a lot of logistical things like playing. I'll just say Chicago because it's not pleasant to be playing in Chicago in November, December, January. I mean, so that is my background. And so initially hearing that they were going to vote on it, I was like, everyone's kind of leaking that this thing's going to pass. I don't know what it looks like. I think looking at what it looks like is a positive. It is a better planned out than I think I anticipated from MLS, which, say what you want. And they're not whatever your expectations.
Not always the most effective.
I like the idea of a winter break. I think you're still going to have games in February in Chicago, in Minnesota, in Montreal, Toronto, whatever.
So the reports that I've been seeing is like the cold weather cities. So what, Montreal
are going to play away games mainly, right?
They're playing away games for like half a season, and then
but I don't like that either. Like, so the Fire are just going to be like, okay, we're home for the August to October, and then we're gone. You can't watch us live until April.
The spring season comes around,
It's weird. Whatever. The spring season starts in February. So even if they split it like that, it still wouldn't make sense because most of the season isn't in the.
And I've seen people make the argument that it's like, it's the same thing as playing in Miami, Austin, San Diego, LA, Houston in the middle of the summer, right?
It's not. It's just not the same.
I agree with your point. I think you can have water breaks. You can do all this stuff.
It gets hot in Chicago too. It gets in the 90s. It's pretty hot.
Well, I think what it's going to end up being is a lot of these stadiums in cold weather are going to be adding a roof, and doing that. I mean, you guys are building a brand new stadium, so are we.
There's no way they're about to just add a roof to that thing.
I'm not saying all stadiums are, or all teams are, but I'm hearing a lot of rumors of cold weather teams
some of these teams have pretty nice, relatively. Minnesota, you think they're just going to be like, oh yeah, now we're going to, unless Don is paying for it.
Isn't Minnesota partially covered, if I'm not mistaken?
Minnesota, I've been there. The stands are somewhat covered, but
the field isn't.
It's the field that matters.
And I mean, look, the fields are mostly heated throughout all of Major League Soccer, but still, my issue is less, I think, with how are you going to physically play the games, and my issue is more with the fan experience, attendance. That is more my issue with the cold.
I think so if it sounds like I'm very negative on this, but I think overall I do like there's positives and negatives. So if I were to go through my positives, I think aligning your calendar with the transfer windows of Europe is a huge positive. I think having the summer window, which is when all of the European teams are actually making big moves, is really important to align with an MLS window that you can now have teams going into the season with Heung-min Son, potentially, players like that.
And you're not getting backloaded 8 games of Heung-min Son.
Yeah, overall, that's a huge positive feature
for sure
that this is adding. Not having an international break during the playoffs is definitely great because what we're going through right now is a huge momentum fall off, which I just even as someone who loves MLS, who we talk about MLS week to week, who cares? I don't like it. I lose momentum. I personally am wait, remind me who won, how'd they win,
exactly.
What happened? It's too long. It's a really weird way to do your playoffs. I don't enjoy it. I think I'm hoping they change the playoff format with all of this. I don't know if they've even said, but
really quick on the no international window in the middle of the playoffs, or your striker, one of the best in the league, could tear his ACL in a qualifying game that they didn't make the World Cup for. So that could be fun too. But yes, there's going to be
a negative to this is you just aligned your playoffs with NHL, NBA playoffs.
I saw that argument too, and people were freaking out that sure, you're aligning with all of that, someone was like, the Big Ten championship game was on the same day as MLS Cup last year. Now, for those who are not from America and don't know what the Big Ten championship game is, college football. I think if Major League Soccer got to the fandom of college football, they would be thrilled. They'd be making more money than they could possibly even imagine. And the Big Ten championship game is a big deal in terms of all of that too. So I think it's a fair.
Yeah, I mean, I went to a Big Ten school. I agree. Like, I'm not trying to say MLS is on even close to college football level of care, but I think aligning yourself with one of the most popular sports times of the year for playoffs is maybe more of the argument. You know what I mean? Like, right now you have regular season football and things like that. And I get what you're saying, like aligning with a Big Ten champ. I feel like the Big Ten champ, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I just think like a lot of what was great was like MLS was throughout the summer and there's like literally barely anything else on, and you're losing that, and you're now aligning yourself with the whole football season and the whole NBA and NHL. But I don't know. I mean, I think that's like the fans of these MLS clubs, like the real hardcore fans, are obviously going to stay. I'm more worried about like the casual audience and like when Messi leaves.
I think you hurt the casual fan here. I think so.
100%. You gave yourself a lot more competition with the casual fan who's just throwing the soccer game on because it's on their TV.
I think the hope is probably right if the league can attract more Thomas Mueller's, Heung-min Sons, even not even going to the names, but elevating the roster and elevating the talent with these transfer markets,
which is totally happening. And I think
they're probably hoping though that is going to attract more eyes, which sure.
Well, and the growth of MLS is indisputable. So 100%. Like, I think all of their positives are still positives. A fun negative for me that I laughed about was that they called it MLS 3.0. Come on, guys. We're like at least at 5.0. Like, we're at least at 5. What are we doing? This is not 3.0.
The one thing that I want to make sure we cover is some of the reported changes. This has come from Tom Bogert and Paul Tenorio. This has not come from officially Major League Soccer, so things can change, but that they are going to break out Major League Soccer into 5 conferences. Each conference is 30 teams, so it's going to have 6 teams in it. It's going to be more what it's being compared to NBA-like rather than football-like, so the conferences don't really matter. Ultimately, it's you play every single team in your conference home and away one time each, and then you play the rest of the teams in Major League Soccer either home or away. So one of the changes I do like is we are going to get every team plays each other every single year. That is a nice thing. The conference alignment, though, is going to be an interesting one. I drew up a quick map and I sent it to you.
It was a good map, actually.
We will see what I mixed up Toronto and Montreal on it, but I'll call myself out.
I think you're going to be pretty close, though, with your estimation.
There only really seems to be 1 or 2 ways that you're going to piece apart this map here, especially with like just some of the segments we get. But I like the idea of that schedule, the competition, how teams are going to play each other. It's not perfect. It never will be perfect. We are too big of a country. We have too many teams in this first division for it to be perfect. But I do like that all the teams are going to play each other. Like, that is.
I also think it's a positive for like rivalries.
Yeah.
Like your conference rivals and stuff. I think.
Well, I like fun. You're gonna get like El Tráfico home and away, Hudson River Derby home and away, Cascadia home and like you get that. That's real
home and away. Yeah,
and and you're not gonna get it. At one point, it was like we had these games like LAFC and the Galaxy played each other like 4 times a year, and it's like no one gives a shit about El Tráfico at that point, unless it's MLS or the Western Conference Final or whatever. The other thing. It's going to be going from conferences to a single standing format like we see, again, across most every other league in the world. So that's going to be cool. I think the supporter shield's going to mean a little bit more in that sense. And since everyone plays each other at least once, that's also means the supporter shield to me is valuable.
Big boost to the supporter shield fans. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. All right.
Which includes me. I do like the supporter shield.
You want to rank trophies? Do you want to do that?
We've done that. We've definitely done that.
We've done that about 100 times.
Yeah.
Is there anything else in regards to the schedule changing, format changing, all that stuff that we didn't talk about that you want to hit on?
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like, there's definitely something that I'm just not thinking about at the moment, but we'll probably talk about this many times over the next years.
Literally, it's gonna come up a bunch. I can't wait for our 2027 season preview where we have to preview a 14-game season. It's going to be my favorite one ever, Jason.
It is going to. I actually think that's going to be kind of fun because
it's going to be.
Oh, no, who's ready right off the bat?
who is going
every loss is going to be. Every game is going to matter so much. It's basically just like playoffs.
Yeah,
for the whole year.
I mean, I like it. You're getting me. Can we just get 14-game seasons? That's all I
need. Are they gonna do like if this conference realignment like is official? Is it gonna be for that mini season too? Because that would be amazing.
The mini season, I think, is just operating as a normal MLS season.
Well, that's less amazing, but that's still good.
But it's what it is. All right. How much time do you have, sir, before you have to go?
I think we got like 15 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that is more than I thought. So let's quickly run through the MLS Cup playoff games this weekend, then, if you are good with it. So
yeah, you want to do quickly what we're at right now?
Oh, yes. So far, Jason and I, if you have listened to this podcast before during the playoffs, we like to pick this series or pick all the games. The last round was series. No more series now. We are in single elimination. Pick all the winners and see whose record is best by the end of the playoffs. So far, there's been 10 winners we've picked through, and I'm 8-2 and you're 6-4. Last year, you smoked me, and this feels good. That's all I got to say.
I honestly 6-4. Am I a little disappointed? Yeah. Are there a couple series where I'm like, it should have gone my way? Yeah. But overall, pretty good.
You also you had the fire in the playoffs and you had to stick with them. I get it. I 100% get it. Like,
I had well, actually, yeah, two of mine are Philly, and I picked Charlotte, which I regret. I also picked Seattle, which I think definitely should have won. I don't know what they're doing. Whatever.
So I'm really upset that we can't dive into all of the games that happened. That's our fault. We weren't able to record 100% because that third game of Seattle, Minnesota was fucking insane, and I absolutely loved it. Dane St. Clair is out of his mind. Love him.
Did I pick Columbus? Was that my fourth loss? It was Philly versus Chicago. I picked Chicago. Charlotte versus NYCFC. I picked Charlotte. Seattle over Mini. I picked Seattle. And I think it was Columbus, but I can't remember now.
I don't remember. I just deleted it 20 minutes before we started.
There's no way I picked Dallas. There's no way I picked Austin. I'm guaranteed. San Diego, I know I picked. And Miami, I'm almost positive I picked. So it has to be Columbus I picked.
I would say then it has to be Columbus, Yeah, no, you're a big Nancy guy. Yeah, of course it's Columbus. And Wilfred Nancy, potentially the next manager of Celtic FC. That could be happening soon enough too. We have so much that's been happening. It's disgusting.
All right. This weekend's games. Let's do it.
So as we said, Major League Soccer is going to avoid this hopefully soon enough in the future, but there is no international break in the future. There is an international break now. That's what I was going with. And obviously that's delayed the playoffs, a month since the last time?
Well, technically it's 2.5 weeks or so.
It's whatever. It doesn't matter. It's still too long to break up your playoffs. So the games kick off back this weekend. Tomorrow, Saturday, November 22nd, we have the Vancouver Whitecaps versus LAFC. This is going to be hosted in Vancouver as they're the higher seed. This is one of those matchups that if this was just a year ago, I think you and I would have been like LAFC Vancouver in the playoffs. We know how it goes down. We know what happened.
I was about to say, I wish you put on here not just their last 5 games, but their last against each other, because the goal differential is just absurd with this matchup.
It is disgusting. But look, LAFC lead the all-time series against the Whitecaps. They have 12 wins and 6 draws. The Whitecaps have 7 wins all time. The Whitecaps do lead the season series with a win and a draw against LAFC. And then
That's also an insane amount of times to have played each other in only like 5 years of history.
Bro, they've played CONCACAF Champions League like 2 years. They've played playoffs constantly.
At least 2 years in a row. This is, I think, the third year in a row they've had a playoff game.
It is absolutely insane. So this series. I keep going back to series. This game is going to be, I think, the determination of who makes it to MLS Cup in the Western Conference. I personally think that these are the best 2 teams left in the West. I think the winner of this game also is going to give the West, I think, the most fair shot to actually take down an Eastern Conference team. You have
I think this matchup, like, I get the whole series thing, but this is so much better as one game only.
Yes.
Like, this is so much better at being a one game, take it or leave it.
It's also, again, and look, Major League Soccer is changing. We can't bitch too much about the format, but it also is the reason why regular season games matter. This game is being hosted in Vancouver, not LA. Like, this is why I think the single elimination just makes sense and it's fun. But look, this series, I think, is all, to me, depend. Like, I keep calling it a fucking series, Jason. This game is going to be dependent on how the Whitecaps, how their injuries really come back. Because it's Major League Soccer. We don't know how injuries come out until a day or two before the game. And then if so, are those even true, those injury reports? But Brian White has been apparently training. Apparently he's maybe on his way back. Same with Daniel Rios. I think if you can inject Brian White into this Whitecaps roster for what they've already been doing without him, then you add Thomas Mueller around them, Sebastian Berhalter coming off a hot USMNT camp and everything like that. The Whitecaps might just take down Heung-min Son and Denny Bouanga. I mean, I feel pretty good if Brian White's in there.
I mean, I don't know. This is so hard because, like, where LAFC got to at the end of the season is like, I genuinely was like, this team's unbeatable with these 2 guys. Like, and they look like they love each other, like, immediately. But at the same side of the coin, or on the other, whatever that saying is, on the other side,
you and I are nailing words 100%.
Thomas Mueller comes in and is just like absolutely smashing it in terms of everything you could want from a guy coming from Europe. He's playing great. He's got everyone, he's clearly leading this team in a lot of ways on and off the field, like professionally, and he's funny. I mean, he brings like a great attitude. He cares a shitload.
It's like you're trying to sell him on like a first date with me. You're like, he's funny, he cares so much.
You like him? He's a good-looking guy, Yeah, I mean, I don't have a huge amount to add besides, like, I just cannot wait to watch this game because I think it's going to be maybe the best game of the whole playoffs. We'll see.
I also selfishly want to see Brian White back in so we get a full strength Whitecap and Tristan Blackman too. Apologies, I forgot to mention Tristan Blackman, but as full strength of a Whitecaps team as we can have versus as full strength of an LAFC team as we can have. It is going to be a ton of fun. Both teams have been scoring at will within their last stretch of games. Both teams have been pretty stout defensively as well. So I can't wait to see what that's going to look like. I personally think with or without Brian White, the Vancouver Whitecaps take this. They've made a CONCACAF Champions Cup run. During the season, they've had the record against LAFC. Yes, they haven't played a Heung-min Son LAFC team yet, but I mean, this Whitecaps team is different in 2025, and I'm going with them.
I'm going to go with LAFC. I have been gassing them up since the Son signing. I think like Son is one of those players that if I'm going to go on one side and say Messi can just win you a game on his own, I think Son on the other side is one of those guys. And I think actually Thomas Mueller is pretty damn close to that. I don't think he's on the same level, but I don't want to say it like Son is and sort of belittle Mueller's performances because
I get what you're
it's
saying.
exceptional.
I get what you're saying.
But
the German fans might come after us then.
I think the German fans probably realize that we like Thomas Mueller after I just sold him in many ways to you. I just think with what LAFC has, I think Heung-min Son, like if they get a free kick, I'm terrified. Like even
have you
close
seen
to
Sebastian Berhalter on a set piece too lately?
You're right. I think there's literally no losers as a neutral fan for this game. Like regardless of who comes out of it, I'll be excited. And I think the game will be good. But I also just kind of want to pick I was actually going to pick LAFC before, but I'm glad that you picked Vancouver because I think it's more fun that way.
You could potentially catch up in picks too here. All right, let's go to the other 2-3 series. So, fucking series game. God damn it. Number 2 FC Cincinnati versus number 3 Inter.
See MLS, see what you're doing to him.
You're breaking my brain. No, it's not MLS breaking my brain lately. Sunday, November 23rd in Cincinnati. So this is an all-time even matchup, 5 wins per team with 3 draws in between. Cincinnati do lead the 2025 season matchup with Miami with a win and a draw. I was about to say, both teams have been pretty even and over the last few games. Defensively, both teams have played pretty well, but Miami's absolutely blowing Cincinnati out of the water in terms of their offensive output over the last few games. Obviously, that is majority sparked by a singular man known as Lionel Messi. But Jason, we don't need to dive into like what Inter Miami is. We've talked about that enough in 2025.
Yeah.
I feel like talked about FC Cincinnati a bunch as well.
I don't know if we've given the impact Brenner has come back and given them the amount it actually probably deserves, but
Brenner won them the series, the actual series against Columbus. Like that brace to come back. He's celebrating in front of the home fans. Like you saw what that game and those goals meant to Brenner.
Yeah, and
he has been in a spark plug. He's, I think, also unlocked Kevin Denke a little bit. And then, Evander, he's been a little not what we saw from Evander in the beginning of the season, but I think he's coming back. I think we're seeing things start to click a little bit more. I don't know. There is just something about the Cincinnati team that just concerns me, though. Like, there's just something about this that
the concern, and I think I kind of feel the same way, and I'm picking Miami. Really, I'm picking Miami because, like, I just don't know how you stop 2 goal contributions a game from one player. But I think for me, Cincy is one of those teams that I'm never that confident when they win the game. Like, even when the 90 minutes, the whistle blows, I'm like, I don't feel like they ever are putting in their best performance.
It's never that what do they say in college basketball and college football, that like marquee win, right? Like
they have like good wins. Like I think beating Cincinnati or Columbus is a good win. Like you deserved it, you won, but they didn't have the 4-0. They didn't have the 4-0 that Columbus put on them. They didn't have a game.
Columbus had the 4-0.
They don't have and that's like my biggest thing. It's like they don't have like that game that you can be like, this was their best. Like they dominated this game start to finish. They played really well. They just completely never gave the other team a chance. I don't feel like they ever do that. And I don't think with Miami, you can not do that, right? Like I think to beat Miami, you really have to have a complete perfect game almost.
The thing that concerns me about Cincinnati is I feel like they're just this fantastic defensive team, defensively stout, will keep their team in the game as long as possible until Brenner, Evander, Denke figures it out and gets the goal, right?
But that's the scary part is like they're just like, we're going to hang around until one of our star players does a star player thing. Like what if that doesn't come?
What I'm saying is, I don't know how much you're hanging around against Lionel Messi, Allende, Suarez.
That is right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like you can hang around against Columbus maybe a little bit easier than you can hang around against Miami when, hey, they went up quickly 2 goals. Now what? You can't rely on your star.
That's what I'm saying is if let's say Messi, puts a goal in early, and it's a 1-0 lead early. I think Cincinnati can fight back from that. But let's say, the goals start to trickle a little bit and, Miami gets an early lead. Do you have enough to push that back? We've seen it a little bit, but it's going to take star moments. And I just don't know if I fully trust anyone outside of Brenner right now to do it. And Brenner obviously needs the help of others to be able to do that. But I'm with you. I'm going into Miami in this game. I just can't pick against the form Lionel Messi said. 10 goals, 3 assists in his last 5 games. It's absurd. Okay, San Diego versus Minnesota United, the number 1 seed versus the number 4 seed. This is going to be November 24th, so Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern time. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for it. It is a fun matchup for, I think, what, the other matchups that, you get Cincy, Miami, you get LAFC, Vancouver. I think this one could actually be pretty enjoyable to watch. San Diego, obviously, in a pretty good run of form, but they've been beating up on Portland lately. And then Minnesota, they have 1 win in their last 5, mixed form. Like the series against Seattle wasn't the most convincing in the world. Obviously San Diego's first season, they split wins on the year. Both teams winning away though, which I think is pretty interesting. Part of me easily wants to say San Diego. Part of me easily just wants to go, it's Andres Dreyer, Chucky Lozano's back in. This team's scoring in bunches. Pellegrino's been fantastic. The defense is held up. But there's just something about, like, this Minnesota team, the way Eric Ramsey has them set up, and, like, Dane St. Clair in net, that I'm just like, I can't easily just be like, it's San Diego.
It's funny because, like, the way I feel about San Diego is when they're gonna win, in the first 5 minutes, if they're gonna in the first 5 minutes if they're gonna win or lose. I feel like
Okay.
I think they're one of those teams that they come out and they're just gonna kick you in the face and score a ton and be very good, or they're gonna let you hang around and make it really concerning. Yeah. I don't know if that's like the most perfect way to describe them. I just feel like when I watch San Diego, it's like a tale of 2 teams when they win and when they lose.
I don't disagree with you. I think the way
like that final game versus Portland, you turn that thing on, you would have known they were going to win in the first 5 minutes.
100%. Well, it's also against Portland. No offense, they were the worst team left in the playoffs, but it's a fact. My whole thing is I think San Diego likes to play their way, play their style, control the game that they want to control the game. They're going to have some beautiful passing, beautiful build up, and they're going to score the goal, right? And that's what we've seen Andres Dreyer do all year long, and Pellegrino and Chucky Lozano and all of that. For me, Minnesota just plays like chaos ball. And we saw that the last 2 games against Seattle, the 4-2 loss and the 3-3 draw that went to PKs. Like Minnesota, especially we've talked about it 100 times, the sales and the injuries and everything that have happened to them in the second half of 2025. It's just chaos. Now, does chaos disturb the beautiful way that San Diego wants to play? Possibly. And I think that's what's leading me to having a little bit of like, I don't know where I want to go with this. I'm going to pick San Diego, but I'm not 100% confident in it. Because
the reason you shouldn't be confident with any pick with this is Dane St. Clair is just out of his mind. And they're winning
for the year.
They're also just they won versus Seattle because of him, basically, because of PK shootouts. They won both of them.
100%. And he can have a 13 save performance like he has had this year and completely take over and be the X factor.
This game I was very torn on, and I think I'm gonna go Minnesota, but I'm the same way with you. I don't know. I don't feel confident with either result.
Well, it's just because look, if it's not Joaquin Pereira from Minnesota or Markanich from the left wing back spot hitting a goal because Anthony Markanich has done it all year long, it's who is scoring the goal for them. And it's just been ugly from them. The play, I think Dane St. Clair has covered so much. Even Eric Ramsey wasn't. This
could easily be another 3-0 performance for San Diego.
it could be a 3-2 game. It also wouldn't surprise me somewhere. But
I think
right,
this will be a good game. I'm not going to feel any major way whoever wins.
It is. I agree. I think again, I said my piece about the Western Conference and the other series as well, and I also feel a very similar way here. Even though I have a very clear, definitive winner in my head of who's going to take Philadelphia Union versus New York City FC, the 1 seed versus the 5 seed. This game is going to be Sunday, November 23rd, hosted in Philadelphia. The all-time series between these teams, 12 wins apiece with 2 draws on both sides. So a ton of wins, a ton of performances, games played across these teams. The season series has been split 1 win apiece, both having 1-0 wins at home. So his season series wise, not leading well for New York City FC here. I'm just going to get to the chase here, Jason, of how I feel about New York City, if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
You have Alonso Martinez tore his ACL. He's out. Keaton Parks has been out for the year. You have Andres Perea, who just snapped his leg in the 3rd game against Charlotte. He's obviously out for the year. You have Aiden O'Neill, who's our D-mid that we signed last year. He's suspended due to card accumulation. We're down to like our 4th and 5th string midfielders, and are the only guy who I feel like you can confidently just be like Alonso Martinez is gonna hit a beautiful ball at some point to potentially get a goal.
He put the team on his back a few times in that first round.
And he has, and he's a fantastic striker, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was gone in the offseason. But to me, it's just, I think it's the injuries, it's the suspensions. Yes, New York City still has a bunch of talent on this team. Justin Hack has been fantastic, Nico Fernandez and Hannes Wolf and all these guys. But you have the Supporter Shield winning Philadelphia Union that just ran the Chicago Fire off the field. And you have a New York City team that's like bandaged, it is true. A New York City team that just bandaged and wrapped together by duct tape getting into this point of the season. I'm picking New York City because I can't pick against them, but you can just tell how I feel.
I mean, it's interesting because I actually think the Philly versus Chicago series, and this might just be me as a Chicago fan, but wasn't as smooth as it should have been for Philly.
There was moments for Chicago.
Game 2, it was obviously a beatdown, but I think, I don't know, we just didn't. I don't know what we were doing. I actually think NYCFC has looked pretty good, and I thought they probably could have went 3 for 3 against Charlotte if they
should have gone whatever, should have swept.
Well, I mean, I guess that's impossible, but you get the point. Based on how those games were played, I think the Alonso Martinez thing is just, and playing away, you could have just stopped after those 2 things and been like, this is going to be too much. I'm going to pick Philly. I think NYCFC is on better form. I think if they're fully healthy, they win this, but they're not.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I think if New York City's fully healthy, I mean, look, if New York City,
I think if Alonso Martinez doesn't tear his ACL, I'm picking New York City.
I feel way better about it, even if the midfield is kind of scrapped together.
I mean, it sort of goes back to what we were saying about Cincy. It sometimes feels like it's, hey, star player, do something with New York City, but
sometimes it works.
I mean, it's working for Cincinnati.
Yeah. Look, I have no hope, and that's where I'm at. I'm picking New York City just because I have to. All right, Jason, that was as good of an episode as we could, and longer than I thought we could record. So I appreciate you.
Longer than I thought I could record too.
Listeners, viewers, thank you guys for checking it out. Enjoy the playoffs this weekend, and we will talk to you guys next week. Oh, I missed the button.